For 140 years, there was a town in England where the sky turned orange every single night. Not from sunset, from blast furnaces burning through the darkness. 30,000 people built their lives under that glow. Generations worked the same steelworks. Schools, pubs, football clubs, our entire families depended on it. Then one day, someone in a government office decided it should stop. The furnaces were shut down. The factory was demolished. Thousands of jobs disappeared overnight. Within just 3 years, the entire industrial site was turned into grass. Today, people drive past it at 70 miles per hour, without ever knowing a town once lived there. And that story isn't unique. Across Britain, entire communities were built around a single industry, used for decades, and then erased so completely that most people have no idea they ever existed. Today we are visiting 10 of those places. Some were closed overnight, some were destroyed by industry itself. And one village left a note on a church door in 1943 promising they would return. They never did, and the note is still there. Stand today at the edge of Tyneham Village in Dorset, and the first thing you notice is the silence. Grass grows through the floors of abandoned cottages. Tank shells are still embedded in stone walls. The windows of the old schoolhouse stare out across the hills with nothing behind them. On November 16, 1943, the residents of Tyneham received a notice. They had just 33 days to leave their homes. The British Army needed the valley to train tanks for the upcoming D-Day landings. The residents did not own their homes, they were tenants of the War Office, which meant the organization ordering them to leave was also their landlord. They had no legal right to object. But they were given a promise. They were told that once the war was over, they would be allowed to return. Before leaving, someone pinned a note to the door of St. Mary's Church. It read, "Please treat the church and houses with care. We have given up our homes where many of us have lived for generations to help win the war. We shall return one day." The war ended in 1945, but the army never left. In 1952, the land was permanently taken by the government. The last person born in Tyneham before the evacuation died in 2025 at the age of 100. He never returned home. The note is still on the church door, and the tanks are still firing in the valley. Not every village on this list was destroyed by war. Some were destroyed by industry. What remains of Hallsands village clings to a Devon cliff like the bones of something that died badly. Broken walls, collapsed foundations, houses that slowly slid into the sea. Around the year 1900, Hallsands was a thriving fishing community of about 160 people. The village survived because of a wide shingle beach that protected it from storms. That beach was its shield. Then the Royal Navy decided it needed enormous amounts of shingle to expand Devonport Dockyard. Contractors began dredging the seabed offshore. Within weeks, the villagers noticed the beach was shrinking. They wrote letters. They contacted officials. They warned that the village would be exposed to the sea. An inspector told them the beach would naturally replace itself. It didn't. By 1902, the beach had dropped 3 meters. The natural protection was gone. Then in January 1917, a massive storm hit the coast. Waves slammed into the cottages at roof height. By morning, the village had been destroyed. The sea took what industry had already weakened. Now the ruins sit below the cliffs, slowly disappearing into the water. Further north in County Durham, there was once a town where the sky glowed orange every night. That town was Consett. For 140 years, blast furnaces burned without stopping. 3,000 workers walked through the gates every morning. Entire lives were built around that steelworks. But in 1980, the British government decided state-owned heavy industry no longer had a place in the modern economy. The plant was profitable. Economists predicted millions in future revenue. None of it mattered. The decision had already been made. On September 12, 1980, the Consett Steelworks closed. Unemployment in the town immediately jumped to over 30%. Within 3 years, the furnaces were demolished. The slag heaps were flattened. The entire site was turned into green fields. Today, the land looks like quiet countryside. You would never know the sky once burned orange here for more than a century. Another community collapsed even faster. Cortonwood Colliery in South Yorkshire closed with just 5 weeks' notice. 5 weeks to dismantle an entire way of life. Miners had previously been told the pit had at least 5 years of work remaining. Some workers had even transferred there based on that promise. Then on March 1, 1984, a notice appeared on the board. The mine was closing. That decision triggered the National Miners' Strike of 1984, a year-long conflict that divided families, communities, and the entire country. Today, the site of Cortonwood Colliery is a retail park. Shoppers buy furniture and electronics on the ground, where one of the most important industrial battles in British history began. Some communities were not destroyed in a single decision, they were slowly erased. Marston Village on the northeast coast was declared a Category D settlement by the county council. That label meant the village had no long-term future. No road repairs, no investment, no public services. The idea was simple. Remove everything a community needs, and eventually the people leave on their own. By the early 1960s, Marston Village had disappeared completely. Far off the west coast of Scotland, there is a small island called Belnahua. At its peak, around 150 people lived there. They worked a slate quarry carved deep into the island. Keeping the quarry operating required constant pumping to stop it from flooding. When World War I began, the workforce was drafted into the military. The island's supply ship was taken by the Navy. Families left one by one until the island was completely abandoned. Today, the quarry is a flooded crater in the center of the island. The cottages still stand around it, empty. On the Ayrshire coast, another industry once thrived in secrecy. In 1873, Alfred Nobel built one of Britain's largest dynamite factories there. Thousands of workers produced explosives hidden among sand dunes designed to absorb blasts. Accidents were expected. Concrete blast walls separated workers to contain explosions. And there was one rule: what you made inside the factory, you never discussed outside it. Over time, the company withdrew. The buildings were abandoned. Now the dunes slowly swallow the ruins. And whatever stories were never written down are disappearing with them. There was once a note pinned to a church door in Tyneham Village. "We shall return one day." Everyone who wrote those words is gone now. The village still stands empty. Across Britain, communities built the industries that powered a nation. Coal mines, steelworks, fishing fleets, quarries, explosives factories. But when economics changed or politics shifted, those communities were abandoned, factories demolished, homes emptied, stories forgotten, until someone stops and remembers they were once there.